Hey everyone, welcome to Comedicine. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Boston, and we have a physician on today. Her name is Dr. Ashley Palmer. She is in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Shout out to Sasky. I love Sasky so much. I'm a little jelly that she's there. She is a rural physician in Ronge in Saskatchewan, but she bases herself in Saskatoon, which actually has a pretty awesome comedy community. I've met some of the comedians there. They are wonderful. And she is going to talk to us about her career as a rural physician and her life as a comedian, and we get into some psychedelics. I don't know. You guys will have to listen. Tell me what you think. Welcome, Dr. Ashley Palmer, to Comedicine. It's so great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And you are coming to us from one of my favorite places in the world, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Honestly, I'm a little bit jealous that you live there. So I always start co-medicine with the day job or the more serious job or the medicine job. So you are a rural doctor, is that right?
Yeah, I work up north in Ronge.
Oh, wow. I saw that you're part-time. So what's your shifts? You're flying in there or?
It's a drive up, and I started off 0.5 time and now I'm doing 0.75 time.
Okay.
You work a week or two at a time and then come back to Saskatoon. So it's called being an itinerant physician. So yeah, it's just contract work, but my schedule is a little asynchronous, but yeah, I go up for a little bit and then come back and yeah, it's a good setup.
Yeah, no, I think there would be a lot of things about that would be great. So can you just tell me a little bit about your education, your journey to becoming a physician?
Yeah, for some reason, I always knew I was going to be a doctor. Apparently I started saying that when I was 2, which how would I have known? But yeah, and I went to undergrad at the U of S, University of Saskatchewan, did physiology and pharmacology, and then I went into medical school, and then I went into residency, and I did that in Chilliwack, British Columbia. I did family medicine residency, and then came back to Saskatchewan. Okay,
and why? What was it about? Do you call it rural medicine? I don't know if that's the correct term.
Yeah.
What was it that attracted you to that? Because actually, I don't think I know. I have a lot of doctor friends, but I don't know anyone who does what you do. So what was it that attracted you to that kind of work?
It's a specific community of Ronge. I went there in medical school and I loved it. I loved the physician group there too. And then I went back and did an elective in residency, and it's just my favorite place that I worked. So it's really the specific community.
And what do you love about it?
People there are great and funny and down to earth, and then the staff it's a very supportive environment. It's a different setup than most places. It's a group share practice, so there's a clinic and a hospital and emergency department, but it's all cross covered. No one has their own patients per se. You could continue to see the same person because you know them, but there's just a clinic for the community, and so if you're in the community, you can go to the clinic. You don't need to have a family doctor. So it's really great for work-life balance because you're all cross-covering each other all the time.
Yeah.
So I really like that setup.
Okay, and then are you doing, because some of the rural doctors, they'll do surgery or C-sections or things that a city GP doesn't do. You're no, I don't do that.
There's no OR. There's no operating room there.
So people get flown out or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, logistics are big, whether you have to fly or go by road, and there's...
Okay, and I'm embarrassed because I am a Sasky, but I can't remember how far it is to Ronge.
Oh yeah, it's 3.5 hours about.
Okay.
Or longer.
If it's winter. Okay, so it's not that far. And how many people live there? I can't remember that either.
I think 2,500, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so it's a small town. And then what about if someone's having a baby? Do you deliver babies?
Yeah. I haven't crossed paths with that very much, just for whatever reason, but low-risk obstetrics is done in Ronge.
Okay, but if it was if it was something more high risk, they would send them to Saskatoon?
Or Prince Albert.
Or PA, okay.
Prince Albert's closer, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, that's very cool. And how long have you been doing this?
I started April 9th, 2024.
Okay, so you went through medical school during the pandemic?
Partially, yeah. During my third year, it started. So we got pulled for 2 months because we were medical students. So they're they pulled us for a couple months. So we had a couple months off in my third year.
They took you out of school?
For 2 months, yeah.
Yeah. Not online school, just we're not doing this right now.
I was in clerkship, so it was we don't want to be exposing you. We don't know the risk.
Okay.
you're not necessary. So
That's lovely. That's nice when you find that. It's nice to find that out, right? When you're like, oh, they're like, just go home. That's fine. Okay. I love that you're doing this job. It sounds really cool. Who else is part of your care team? Like you said, it's kind of a team. Like there's other doctors. Is there like nurse practitioners and nurses and what else? Who else is part of that team?
yeah, there's nurse practitioners, and I'm gonna forget people. There's like diabetic nurse educator. There's well, not lots of stuff necessarily. They're kind of short on some things, but yeah, there's physio and yeah.
Okay. It seems like a better model because I'm sure you know there's like a huge doctor shortage and a lot of people can't get a family doctor. So it does seem like moving to like a system like that. And I don't know why they did that in Ronge. Maybe just it's a small town and that there was just one medical clinic. Are there any doctors there that live in Ronge, or is everyone kind of doing what you're doing? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's salaried doctors who live there.
Okay. Do you like coming in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find you can like forget about work when you're back in Saskatoon, or is it always kind of there?
It's getting better. When I started, I was working 2 weeks on, 6 weeks off, and it would take me like 3 weeks to like feel normal.
Yeah.
But now it's like a few days.
Okay.
So it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah. And I would imagine too, like that there's other doctors, if you're not there, so that you don't, like there's other people to follow up on your stuff or recheck someone, that you don't have to be constantly, I don't know if that's true or not, but.
You have to follow up on your tasks. So you always have to check your tasks and stuff like that. Or you can, if you're going away or something and you arrange with somebody else, they can check your tasks for you. But
okay, I have those too. Yeah, I can like, we have a really nice computer system now for my work as a veterinarian, and it's like a mixed blessing because I can like at home, I can like go in and do my tasks or do my paperwork and stuff, which is mostly great. But there's sometimes where I'm like, oh, I guess I can do, it's Saturday. I guess I can check all those labs and call all those people. It's easy now. Okay. So tell me about how you got into comedy and like your journey, because that's a whole other side of you. Is that a new thing for you, or is that something you've always done?
I started November 6, 2023. I remember the date for that also.
Okay. I love it.
But it's something that I always wanted to do. Like I always loved comedy when I was a kid. And then when I was in residency in Chilliwack, my program just so happened to have a tradition of at grad, the first year residents do a comedic roast of the second year residents. So I did that, and it was a lot of fun, and that kind of got me into it. And then when I finished residency, now I realize I was super burnt out. But at the time, I was just thought I was tired and pissed off. But so I was like, I'm not practicing medicine, and I just didn't practice, and I was broke.
Okay.
And like staying on an air mattress at a friend's house. And I just kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I'm whatever. Like, when's the next open mic? And this was a Friday. I looked. Next open mic for stand-up was on a Monday. So I spent the weekend making a set, set. And then I went on Monday, and then I started. And then after a few months of doing comedy, one day I was on a run, and I was just like, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I feel like good to work now. Like I was burnt out. And I realized I was like ready to go work in Ronge, and I emailed people, and then I had a job set up and like started like a month later.
Wow.
So comedy like revived me. I don't think I'd be doing medicine if I didn't start comedy.
Oh, that's amazing. And then what was your, like when you first started, like what were you writing about? Was it about medicine? Was it about being burnt out, or was it just, yeah?
It was about, my first set was about doing rectal exams.
Can you remember any of the jokes? Or even the
no, it's a little haphazard, but.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like, so it's a really weird thing is like, cause I make jokes about it too. I don't know if you made jokes about this or if this happens, but like I do rectal exams on dogs and the clients in the room, and they all like, they cannot be quiet. Like it is not possible to do a rectal exam.
The animal or the family?
The family, the animal's usually quiet. The family, I think they're uncomfortable, or they think about it happening to them, or they think it's funny. I don't actually know what, I should ask them but I don't know how I would ask them without being rude. Like, what are you thinking? But like, they cannot be quiet. Like, it's not possible. And and some of the comments are like, you're just like, oh my God, it's so cringy. Like, and I don't know, do people do this? They'll be like, are you going to buy him dinner first? Or like, they'll say creepy stuff.
Yeah, people make jokes sometimes. Yeah.
They do. Okay. Because I always wondered that if people are more like, because it's happening to them, so if are they more apt to be quiet or not? But I always say this, like the rectum is universally funny to everyone. It's one of our comedic truths, I think. People always find the rectum very, very funny, and they always want to talk about it. Yeah, I wish they wouldn't. I'll be honest. I was happy during the pandemic because the dogs came in without their owners, and I could just do my exams in peace.
Yeah.
Well, so okay, you finished your residency, and then you were just like exhausted. It sounds like you were like, okay, cool. I'm a doctor, and I don't want to work now. So, and it doesn't sound like it wasn't very long. You just had a break, started doing comedy, and it helped you?
It was months. Yeah. Okay. It was like, well, because I got back to Saskatchewan in July and I started comedy in November. So it was a bit of time.
Okay.
Just not knowing what to do.
Wow. Okay. Well, I love that story because I think I think a lot about how comedy helps me in my career, but also just in my life and I'm trying to find the balance. I don't know that I have found it, but so okay, you started doing mics. What else did you do to kind of progress in your comedy?
I traveled a little bit. Like I went to Vancouver and I've gone to Austin, Texas, and to do comedy and like practice, I guess. And I've just been do shows when I can.
And I know a little bit about the Saskatoon scene because I visit there sometimes to do locums at the University of Saskatchewan in the vet school. But can you tell me what it's like? I know some of the people there, I think they're quite lovely. Or like, what is the scene like? And where do you do comedy there and stuff?
Yeah, there's a new comedy club and they do other art stuff as well, but Art Bar.
Yeah.
It's on 20th. And yeah, so that they have a lot of comedy, like 2 open mics at least every week. And then there's Buds on Broadway. They have a mic every week. And then Black Cat has kind of asynchronous mics every week. So those are the main places.
And do you find you get enough stage time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not like oversaturated with comedians here, so you can get time. It's not like being in a big city where it's just like you have 3 minutes or whatever for a set. Or
how long do you get typically?
It depends. Like some of the mics, like sometimes not very many people show up, so it's like you can do 15 minutes if you want to because you need to fill the time.
Okay.
But 7 is pretty common.
Okay.
Open mics.
I did a mic there. Now I can't remember the name of it. It was like I think it was like a Mexican restaurant, something like that. And it was Dakota Raymond and her husband Dylan who were running that mic. And that's when I first met them. And I know they're the ones who own the Art Bar. Mm-hmm. But then like several months later, someone died in that bar. Like there was a bar fight between 2 women and someone died. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know someone died at not Cactus
Yes.
Club. Crazy Cactus.
Yes, that's where it was. So I did an open mic there with Dakota, Dylan, and Dustin were running it. And then, a couple, and the bar, it was kind of a crazy, like it was on 20th. It was kind of rough. And I remember I think the sewer was backing up when we were there. Like it was like a restaurant, but you could smell like really bad smells. Just like, of course I dragged one of my high school friends there to come with me. And she was like, oh my God, like, what are you doing with your life? I was like, yeah, this is great. And then, there was like literally a bar fight there a couple months later and like a woman died. I was like, oh yeah, that's, comedy takes you to interesting places. All right. Well, you have sent us a clip. Why don't we jump to the clip?
So that means that the government pays me to stick my finger up people's butts. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah. Gotta wear a glove though. Yeah. Most people are for the glove. Some are against it. They're a small but vocal minority. Before I got that government butthole money, I was actually pretty frugal. I used to do this thing where I drink table beers, which is a beer that's been left on a table. Abandoned. I wasn't a thief, I was a scavenger. My friends would tell me this was dangerous and disgusting, but believe it or not, I was only roofied once. And it was with a drink that I bought. Isn't life silly? But yeah, I work up north as a doctor now, and when I started, I already knew one of the nurses, typical Saskatchewan, and she was like, Ashley, do you remember when you used to drink table beers? I was like, yeah, thanks for bringing this up at work. And in my memory, I was like real casual about it, but she went on to describe me. She was like, yeah, you were ruthless. We would scour the bars, picking up bottles, shaking them to see how much beer was left inside. There was no stopping you. I'm proud to say I haven't had a table beer in 3 weeks. Thank you. Yeah. And so if you've been wondering what you call a bunch of scavenged, twisted tea remnants poured into one cup, that's Arnold Ashley Palmer.
Okay. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Can you talk a little bit about kind of your process and how you come up with jokes and how you write them and how you practice them?
Yeah, I'm still kind of figuring it out. Sometimes I just write and I need to change something because I've just got this one joke book and then I write jokes into it and it's like full, it's almost done. But then it's just so disorganized, so I feel like I'm losing things. So I think I'm going to have 2 joke books, like one because sometimes I just, when I have an idea, I just kind of like free write it out and it's not very good or funny, but it's kind of, then I kind of figure out how to rework it.
Yeah.
So I think I'll have one next I'll have 2 books, one for just the thoughts and the kind of free writing, and then another book to my edited.
Yeah.
Like more good copy. Then sometimes I also just use like voice notes on my phone. Like if I have an idea, sometimes I just record it and that works better because also sometimes like the inflection or the way that you're saying it is a big part of what's funny. I use voice notes on my phone too. And then I just listen back and then I write it out and kind of figure out how to work it out. And then, yeah, just like then trying it. And then you kind of see how it feels, or I see how it feels when I'm saying it. And then if something kind of feels off, then I'm like, okay, this is where I need to rework something.
Yeah. And what do you like what kind of areas do you like to write about?
I write about medicine. I write about like psychedelics and like experiences. I guess I realize I've written a lot about like drinking and stuff like that.
Okay. Just write what you know. So that's
yeah.
Okay. And psychedelics, tell me more about that.
Some of my experiences with psychedelics I've written. It's not like that's more like new, just kind of like 2 bits that I have.
Like mushrooms and
LSD, yeah.
Okay. As a medical student or just as a comic?
As a medical student, yeah.
Oh, so not as part of a study. Part of a study? No. Just doing that with your friends.
Yeah. Myself.
Okay. Because I think it was like one of the psychologists or psychiatrists who did a lot of the original research in LSD was at University of Saskatchewan. Did you know that?
I think the word psychedelic was coined in Saskatchewan.
Okay, so you're just following your destiny then by doing that. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know. I haven't talked to that many people that have done LSD or mostly LSD. What can you tell us about that experience? Just either as jokes or just the experience?
Yeah, well, I've had several experiences. I used to live in Regina and I lived near the Parliament building, so I'd take LSD and I'd go on runs. Like sometimes I'd just go on runs, but I'd be like, dressed up as a runner, so I'd be like, no one knows. And it was really empowering.
And you'd run by the Parliament buildings? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I feel like you have no idea because I'm dressed as a runner. Meanwhile, you're like taking your clothes off and jumping in a fountain. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really know. Do you think people should do that? People talk about mushrooms and ayahuasca and like all those kind of, I guess, psychedelics or brain expanding drugs. Like, do you think it's something people should experience in their life?
If they feel compelled to. Okay. But if they don't know, like it can go really bad. So if you don't feel compelled to, I wouldn't recommend it.
See, and this is where I think, I don't know, I would like your opinion on this. There's stores that are selling mushrooms in Canada, but they're not really legal, but they kind of are there. Do you know what I mean? Like they exist. But I think for me, I just worry about things being laced with things and like, where did this come from? I'm much more comfortable with like a package with the number of milligrams like on it. You know what I mean? Like, how when like the government has taken over selling marijuana, like if you bought it, you know what's in it, you know how much it is. And like, it's not, I have tried that. It's not really for me, but I actually am much more comfortable trying things that I know what's in it. Cause I feel like, I don't know, but do you think they should legalize mushrooms in Canada? Yeah. Do you think they're safe for people? Do you think it's fine for people to do them? You're a doctor, so you have lots of knowledge. I think it really comes down to like the individual person, and like they talk about like set and setting a lot in terms of psychedelics, like having your mind set being like right for it and having the environment you're doing in it be right, like the people you're around, everything. So, because like it can go bad, like it could hurt you, but it can also like help heal you, or just enjoy your time or whatever. They talk about microdosing mushrooms as something that can help people with depression, like Do you see a role for that? I don't even know if that's something that's prescribed right now.
Yeah, and like it has cured people's depressions. Like some people, it's treatment. I remember the first psychedelic I did was mushrooms, and I wanted to try psychedelics for years. I knew that I wanted to try psychedelics, and I've been researching and stuff for like years, like probably like 5 years before I came across them. So I knew that I was wanting to. And then I remember, because I was really caught up in like some specific traumas and stuff, and I was really like, I was depressed. And then I remember, like, I was just like, I want to think about this, like, when I'm on mushrooms. And I remember thinking about it. And then I just had the thought, I've thought about this enough. And then I just, like, went and I enjoyed, like, the nature that was around me because I was outside. And it was really important. But yeah, then another thing, though, is that when you do, like, because you have, like, highs, like, on psychedelics or whatever, and you have these, like, you can have, like, these healing experiences or just, like, blissful experiences. But then that, because you're taking something from outside of your body and putting it in your body and altering your state, and then you come up here. So you will probably like have a low after at some point. Like there's gonna be both, but like you've experienced something new and it's changed something.
Yeah.
Like even if you're going to experience a low, like you can come back up, and it's still, to me, feels worth it. And overall, it's like this. The first year that I was in medical school, me and a couple of my friends took MDMA together a few times. That completely changed my life. Like I was really caught up in a lot of trauma and stuff. And after the MDMA, like I saw myself from outside of myself for the first time in my life. And just every year since then has been better. Wow. And yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to get through medical school if I never had those experiences. Like, I don't know how my life would be if I hadn't have had those experiences. And this was in 2017. And then I remember I looked it up. I was like, wow, this could really help people. Yeah. And then I looked it up, and 2017 was the year the FDA said that MDMA therapy for PTSD is like a breakthrough therapy.
Wow.
Even though they didn't approve it, said it was a breakthrough therapy in 2017.
Okay, I have to look that up. Gonna have to look that up. Now, I want to ask you this, like, because we're recording this, like, and we can change this, even though this is very interesting to me. So I hope you're going to say yes. But like, are you worried about speaking about this publicly when you're a physician? Like, do you think there could be any blowback for you as a physician talking about this stuff? Because we'll take it out if you do. And even if you go think about it and tell me that, I'll be sad because it's so interesting to me. But are you worried about that at all? Or you feel like, no, this is something I want to talk about?
I feel like it's important. So it doesn't matter.
Okay. No, I just wanted to check in with you about that. So can you prescribe, I don't know if do you work with patients? Like I know a lot of family doctors do work with patients who are experiencing depression or mental health issues. Are you on the front lines of that, or would you refer those people to someone else if you had a patient like that?
It depends how severe. And then like there's a psychiatrist, but they're really backed up. Or there's more than one psychiatrist. There's one youth psychiatrist. They're really backed up. And like I work in the north, so like there's super high suicide rates and all that. So there's a lot of mental health. Okay. So you would be struggles. For some of those patients, you might be the first person they seek out or talk to, that you're trying to figure out, so I mean, you need to have knowledge of, I guess, everything in your toolkit to help those people, like whether it's prescription drugs or, I don't know, can you prescribe mushrooms? Is that a thing? I don't even know if you can legally prescribe that now. I think the government put something in that's like, if you're gonna end your life or you're like really, really, really severe and like treatment resistant to everything, you can do like a really complicated process to try and get like approved to take like psychedelic treatment, but I don't know if they have it for psilocybin. I know they have it for MDMA for PTSD, but I don't even know where it's sitting at right now. It's pretty complicated, it seems. Like, it's like an emergency drug release or something like along those lines? Would it be like, or is it even more than that? It's more than that, because you'd also have to, it's like with the therapist, so you'd need to go to a place where they do the therapy, which they do in Vancouver. I know they do in other places too, but I know, one of the doctors who does like psychedelic medicine in Vancouver and was part of the MDMA trials and all that. Okay. But yeah, so I know they're doing some like MDMA and psilocybin therapies for people, but I think there's still a lot of red tape. Okay. No, that's super interesting. Thanks for sharing all of that. All right, I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm bouncing back to medicine. What would you say? You kind of said this, but like, I always am interested in like, what's your favorite thing about what you're doing in rural medicine? And then what's the thing that you think is the biggest challenge? I love connecting with people is definitely my favorite thing. And when you have a good connection with somebody, That's my favorite thing for sure. So there's so many challenges, paperwork, stuff like that, keeping on top of tasks and just kind of uncertainty and volume, acuity. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard job.
Are you using
But
AI
there's good
for your
support.
paperwork right now? Do you guys use that?
Some people are. I've
Okay.
been resistant to it, but maybe I've been thinking about trying it. Do you use it?
It's so good, Ashley.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, it's life-changing.
Okay.
Just to have it, this is where I find it, okay, these are the two areas I find it most useful, but I think I'm just scratching the surface. I tell the client, I'm using this, and I put the phone, on the table so they can see it's recording, because I know some people have just kept it in their lab coat pocket. I think that's kind of weird. I feel like people should know because I am recording the conversation. So I just say, hey, I'm using an AI scribe. And I'd say half the people are like, oh, that's cool. I use AI for something in their work. So they're usually cool with it. I find when I go from a room to room to room and I don't have time to write stuff down, it's so great because then I talk to it like I'm measuring dogs' masses, or I'm listening, and I'll talk to it and say the exact description of the mass and where it is on the dog's body. And there's honestly no way I would really remember that. And I'll get down to my computer. I'd be like, was that the right or the left? And so I find it super, super useful for that I don't have to stress about, I don't know, because I feel like that takes up room in my brain of or I'll grab a piece of paper towel. I used to do that and just scribble stuff down, put it in my pocket so I wouldn't forget something. And I was like, that is not great either. So I love it for that. And then I love it for phone calls because I'm sure you're the same. We have to record our conversations. You don't? Wow, we have to record everything. We have to, because some of our clients would be like, you never told me that, or no one told me. So we have literally every conversation. So if you have a 15-minute conversation with someone and then you have to take 10 or 15 minutes to write down everything about that conversation, it's just so much time. And so, yeah, I find it's awesome for that. But there's lots so I don't know. I encourage all my medical friends to try it and find one. There's all different ones now, and to try to find one that works for you and find how to make it. I think it just helps with efficiency. So it's and actually the really good ones, it's kind of amazing. You're like, oh, because I used to have to edit my phone conversations, but now I'm just like, nope, that's good. I just copy and paste it, put it in the file, and move on from there. I want to thank our Season 6 title sponsor, Covet. Covet is an AI co-pilot for veterinary professionals, and I'm excited to talk to you about it because this is the AI co-pilot that we're using at the hospital where I work. There's so many great uses for this. I get a lot of referrals sent in with a ton of PDFs, and sometimes just 12 years of the dog's medical record sent to me. 12 years, you guys. I don't have time to read through all of that. Sometimes my records are sent to me in French. That's challenging for me. That's okay. Covet can deal with it. It takes everything, turns it into a nice summarized document so I can review everything before I go in the exam room. And then once I'm in the exam room, Covet can listen to the entire consultation. I can talk about my physical exam findings. I can talk to the client. We can make a plan together. All of this gets summarized better and faster, honestly, than what I can do myself. And there's a lot of cool features in the app. One of them is you can call a client from the app directly. It will listen to both sides of a conversation, and then it will summarize the whole thing. Again, better and faster than I can. This has literally saved me hours every day, getting my paperwork done, getting me out in time, and also just decreasing my general stress level because I'm not worried, oh, did I get that all? Did I get the right leg? Did I get everything recorded? Am I going to forget something? And it's a lot nicer to focus on your patient and focus on your client rather than having to constantly be turning away from them and writing stuff down. So check out Covet. It is fabulous. I want to thank them for everything they do to support the veterinary profession and also for supporting this podcast. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask the same question about comedy. I know you're new to comedy, but what's your favorite thing about comedy? And then also what do you think is the biggest challenge in comedy?
My favorite thing is just doing it. Doing it is really fun. Making people laugh is the best. With comedy, is I see life through a lens of comedy. It just, makes life better.
Yeah.
So it's fun to be able to take the way that I see things and figure out how to say it in a way that makes other people laugh. You can see something and be like, that's funny, but then it's how do you encapsulate that and have somebody else laugh? I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah. No, I like it. Yeah. No, that speaks to me because I don't know. I found since I started doing comedy, because I did, I was a veterinarian for a long time before I did comedy. And like, there's things that would maybe upset me or stress me out, but I would, because I like your analogy of a comedy lens, because I could see it through a comedy lens, I'd be like, yeah, this is stressful, but actually it's also pretty funny. Like if, and there's a lot of things that I'm like, and not funny in 5 years, like it's actually funny right now. And so I think that was for me, like the kind of the gift of comedy is like to not be all like, mad. I could be like, whether it's a client who's maybe a bit unhinged or not being very nice or whatever, like, yes, it's awful. Like, it's definitely awful, but you could kind of be like, okay, but the situation is funny, or like, I can look for what's funny about that. And so I think that, yeah, I totally agree. That does make sense to me. And the biggest challenge of comedy for you?
In my own mind, probably getting, overthinking things or self-doubt, stuff like that. But I remind myself it doesn't matter.
Yes.
So just do what you want. Like, it doesn't matter. And you can always, get better if something doesn't go well. That's fine. You can always learn something. Like because I've bombed and that sucks. But I tell myself this is training for my nervous system.
Oh.
Because it's a really uncomfortable situation, but you're actually fine. And so you're teaching yourself to be fine and continue to be yourself and learn how to, when you can, maybe salvage it or just work with the energy that's happening to, turn things around.
I love that too. I love the way you frame that too. Actually, we at the hospital I'm at, we do shorts rounds. We just did those, and we were talking about discomfort and kind of the value of discomfort. So you're right, like even bombing, it's obviously uncomfortable, but it's like, you're here, you're fine. And I think also, like, I don't know, I've had other medical people who do comedy say, well, like, no one's going to die. Like, it's just, you just did some jokes and people didn't laugh. And
that's the other thing that I tell myself is the worst thing that happens in medicine is it's awkward and then you kill someone. The worst thing that happens in comedy is it's awkward. It takes away the stress of it. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love that. Well, yeah. And I mean, it's like, I think we can put too much pressure on a lot of ourselves for a lot of things, and it's kind of like, well, does this really matter? I mean, of course you want it every night to go great and your jokes to all go great, but if they don't go great, it's feedback. That joke isn't working. You need to cut it or you need to fix it. So even though if I don't do well, I'm very sad. I try only to be sad till the next morning, and then I move on. It's a new day. Okay, I was looking at your social media. I can't remember how I found you. I think I found you on Instagram. I'm always excited when I find another medical person who's doing comedy, because it's like, actually, even aside from this podcast, it makes me excited, which is why I started this podcast, because I really love talking to people who are medical, who do comedy and are creatives. But I stumbled on your Instagram. I stumbled on a picture of you that you had posted of you in Seoul, Korea, or are you in, I don't know if you're in Seoul. I think you're in Seoul.
I was in Seoul, yeah.
Okay. And you're in grade 12 and you're talking about your insights about North Korea. So can you just explain how this all came to pass?
When I was in grade 12, my school, some of the teachers put on this travel trip. We went to Bali. So, I went on that. And then we went through Seoul on the way back, like as a connecting flight. But we had a layover, so we left the airport.
Okay.
And these American news reporters saw us and were like, hey, kids, do you want to like be on the news? I was like, sure. And then I had never heard of Kim Jong-un before that interview, because he just, I don't know, became a thing globally then, or more so, I don't know. But anyway, I never heard of a Kim Jong-un until that interview. And then the title of was like, or like what they had over my face was like, North Korea, tension rises, have they set a launch date? The piece was about, is Kim Jong-un gonna bomb Seoul?
Okay.
On like a specific holiday, was like what the piece was about. They didn't give an answer, obviously, and he didn't. They asked me, like, are your parents scared? They asked this other kid who was getting interviewed in my class. They were like, are you scared? And he said, I have no fear. And then they didn't use that. But they
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, and they also interviewed, like, some of the teachers, and they said, like, intelligent answers and whatever. They didn't use that. They used me just kind of saying nonsense. But
oh, my God. I love that, because you were just connecting. So it's not like you were a group of students who were in Korea for a period of time.
No, just a few hours.
No idea about, I'm trying to think. I was coming back from Thailand. I'm pretty sure I did stop in Seoul also. I didn't leave the airport though, but I was there, and I met some American missionaries who had been like traveling around Asia, and they were like spreading Christianity right into these, and they were like, some of these people had never heard of Jesus. I was like, yes. And they were living their lives perfectly well.
Yeah.
With their own religion and their own culture. But they were just like, yeah, I was like, it was wild. But that was my sole stopover experience. I don't know. It's still stuck in my head because they were just so convinced that they needed to convert these people to be Christian. I guess they're missionaries. It's their mission. Such as they do. That was their mission. Yeah. Okay. Well, it has been great to talk to you. I have a few more questions. I mean, you're pretty new to comedy. And it seems to me you're trying to find a balance between the two. But if your comedy career took off, let's say 5 years from now, 3 years from now, and you were just like, would you, okay, and you can make the same amount of money and you'd work about the same amount of hours, would you give up medicine to do comedy, or do you like that you're doing both right now?
I would give up medicine, definitely.
Okay. I love that. Didn't even have to think about it. Okay. Because comedy's more fun, or just because it speaks to you more? Or
I want to do like several things. Western medicine is not something that I want to do long term, unless I found something that I really felt like I was fully like using all of my skills. Like, not that I feel unfulfilled. Like, sometimes it's so fulfilling, like, but you don't need to be a doctor to connect with people. Yeah, I don't see myself doing it forever.
Okay. So you just said you want to do a lot of things, which that's also speaks to me. They've come up with a word for it now. They say you're a polymath. I'm like, oh, that sounds better than maybe what I used to say about myself, that I'm kind of flaky, or I'm like, whatever. But what other things do you want to, like, you're young, you're just starting out. So like, what other things do you see doing throughout your career or careers as you progress?
This might be kind of weird to bring up, but I'm learning about this thing called human design. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I think I would be going, yeah, but no. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I might have heard the phrase, but I don't know what it is. So I would love to know more about it.
So pretty much it's like an energy blueprint for a person. It incorporates a lot of different knowledge systems. So it incorporates like astrology and the I Ching and the chakra system, genetics and quantum physics into this like body graph that, depending on when you're born and the time that you're born, where you're born, it creates this body graph just depending on where the planets are, how it lights up the chart. And so there's different ways that people are, like different energy types and different ways that people make decisions. Like, some people are emotional and they have highs and they have lows and they don't know right away and they need to wait to feel clear and like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And then some people, they know right away, like, the energy goes up, their energy goes down, they go that way, or they're like, oh, no, not that. And yeah, there's just different ways that people operate and make decisions. And human design is a way that shows that. And I love it. I stumbled across it in my 4th year of medical school. I've just been learning about it since, and so I want to do that.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Like, if you're doing that, do you see yourself as like a counselor? You're guiding people, or like, how do you apply that if you're kind of working towards that in your career?
Yeah, I'm learning from this person, Chetan Parkin, who is like a human design knowledge keeper. He's the person I trust the most with like human design knowledge in the world. So I'm learning from him, and he refers to it as like human design practitioner. Some other people say like human design analyst, but he says practitioner, which I agree with what he's saying. Like, the practitioner makes more sense because you're working with people, and like the purpose is like empowerment. It's not like I'm telling you who you are. It's empowering you to be yourself. And so I love telling people about their human design charts, like doing like readings for people, like to help explain their energy to them. Okay. And then there's more to it. Like, there's like, you can use human design to do karma clearing, which might sound weird, but yeah, I think it'll evolve a lot over the future.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty new.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're getting in early, which is really, really cool. I also notice you have a lot of very nice podcasting equipment. Now, is that because you're going to podcast? Are you podcaster? I mean, I don't know. Or do you just, what's happening with all the equipment?
Me and my friend Sam Simonson, he works in Ronge as well as a doctor, and we went to medical school together. We have a podcast called Dr. Dumbass and the Wounded Healer. We started and then we took a break, but now we're recording again, so going to come back.
Okay, amazing. And what is, like, I mean, I can kind of guess, but what are you, like, who are you guys? Is it just the two of you? Do you guys have guests on, or what's kind of the premise of your podcast?
Some of them are the two of us, and then some of them we have guests on. And I would say the premise is talking about, it's like alternative ways of living, alternative ways of healing, also non-alternative ways, like we talk to physicians.
Okay.
But,
okay. That's cool. Okay, well, we will check it out, everybody. Dr. Dumbass and the Wounded Healer. Okay, we're at the last question. I don't know if you know this, but I asked the same last question of all of my guests. I'm trying. We're in season 6 now. So for more than 5 seasons, I have been trying to get Dr. Ken Jeong to be a guest on Comedicine. It's not going well, Ashley, but if you could please invite him to come on. So you're not talking to me or anyone listening. You're just talking directly to Ken Jeong. If you could please invite him to be a guest on Comedicine, I would really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ken Jeong should definitely come on your podcast. It's interesting. I remember I was watching like one of his, The Hangover or whatever. And then I found out that he was a doctor. And I remember, this was before I was in medical school. I remember having the thought, that's what I want to do. I want to become a doctor and then quit to do comedy. And then I still didn't admit to myself that I wanted to do comedy. I just a lot of cognitive dissonance. But I remember having that thought about him. Yeah. And then it wasn't until, when I was in medical school, I had one experience where I smoked DMT, and then I had a very visceral vision of myself doing comedy. And I was like, oh, okay, I want to do comedy. That's how I admitted it to myself. But yeah.
I like the concept of like, I'm going to become a doctor so I can quit being a doctor so I can do comedy instead of just saying I want to do comedy. So do you feel like you had, I don't know, like, did you have pressure to go in a career? No, it was just you're just going to, I'm just on this path because you said it since you were 2. So that was probably internal, not your parents or your...
100% internal.
Okay. I'm 100% internal. Okay. I've talked to people on this podcast who they just became a doctor because it was kind of expected, but it wasn't necessarily their passion. I don't know Ken Jeong. I haven't spoken to him yet, but when I've heard him do interviews, he kind of says something similar. Like it just was on the doctor path, but really his true passion was always comedy. And that's why I would like him to come on the podcast. So Ken, I'm inviting you again because I think it takes a lot of courage to, break out of a traditional career and do something like comedy. And so to me, I'm inspired when I see someone do that successfully. But, ultimately, I think you just have to follow your heart of what makes sense for you. So
yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, I'm so glad I got to meet you. Again, a little jelly that you are in Saskatoon, one of my favorite places. Maybe if I come out there, we could do a show together.
Yeah.
So I would love to be there. I'd love to check out the art bar. I'd love to be on a mic with you. And thank you so much, Ashley, for being a guest on Comedicine.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
And that wraps up another episode of Comedicine. Thank you so much for listening. It is great having you here. If you have been listening to Comedicine from the beginning, thank you. If you're new to Comedicine, thank you and welcome to our Comedicine community. It is wonderful to have you here. I want to just give a shout out to Mark Edwards, who wrote the music for Comedicine. He's a comedian, an actor, a musician. He's going to be famous, you guys. And then you'll be like, is that the same Mark Edwards? And I'll be like, yeah. He's my friend, you guys. I know him. And he wrote the song. He's amazing. Also, big shout out to Dustin Bays. Thank you for editing the show and producing it. I appreciate you because I don't know how to do that stuff and I don't want to learn. Yes, it's willful ignorance, I think, at this point, but I'm so glad Dustin is here with me, helping me out with the show. And thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please like it, share it, do all the things, review it. If you're a sponsor or a potential sponsor, call me. That would be great. If you don't like the show, I don't know why you're still here.